And we are live here to cover the next winter storm that is impacting much of Kentucky and much of the Tennessee and Ohio valleys. Winter storm warnings, ice storm warnings in Nashville and central Tennessee. Winter storm warnings for the entire state of Kentucky, north into Indiana and Ohio as well. This is as our next storm system does begin to move in. Lots of snow in the region as well as freezing rain beginning to move in. Bringing that closer to home, you do see the heavy snow that moved into Bowling Green. That's now approaching the Lexington area right now. Heavy, or not heavy, but light freezing rain beginning to move into the Bowling Green area. I stepped outside a couple of minutes ago, and icing is certainly beginning to take place. Temperatures not really above freezing. They warmed up a bit. We're at 24 in Lexington, 31 in Bowling Green as well. And so that's going to continue to impact the region as we go through much or the remainder of the afternoon. Looking at the whole region, you do see 8 in Pittsburgh, 17 in Indianapolis, but the cold air comes all the way down to Mississippi, and that's going to continue to impact us. Here's the big picture with all the winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, and including the ice storm warnings with this event. And guys, how are you all feeling about it on your end?
Well, I feel that the uncertainty is. I feel like there's still high uncertainty with this forecast. This is going to be one of those type of events where we're going to have to continue to update you as the storm moves through. It's not an easy forecast. It depends on where your temperature is. Usually areas generally along north of I-64 usually are the areas that do get mainly snow out of these type of events. That's one thing that we are sure of, is that areas north of I-64 will see snow. I'm seeing a chance of a heavy band that may develop north of I-64, bringing in at least 4 to 8 inches and possibly locally higher amounts.
Absolutely. Kyle, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, we've all been seeing the same thing. The storm's getting ready to push through, and you just said, yeah, you're seeing some freezing rain down there right now in Bowling Green. That's going to push up slowly to Lexington. And yeah, unfortunately, with us already having the crazy amount of snowpack on the ground already from the last storm, we're going to add even more on top of that. So there's still a bit of uncertainty in exactly how much will fall, but for sure we're going to be impacted in a great way.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll be seeing some impacts out there this hour. Let's take a look at what we're looking at in terms of social media. This is just coming out in parts of.
Hey guys, I'm going to step out for
Western
just a moment.
Kentucky.
Go ahead and keep going, okay?
Okay, this is coming out in parts of western Kentucky, and this is freezing rain. As you can see, icicles forming along power lines. They're not a good thing, especially with these type of events where you get power outages. Not a good thing at all.
No, I don't particularly think that this will be a giant icing event for the Lexington area. Areas farther south around where Bowling Green is and Somerset, those areas could see some significant impact of ice. But up here in the Lexington area, we shouldn't see too much, but we will see a nice coating, I guess you could say. So, Darius, do you have an accumulation map to share?
I do have an accumulation here, and here is the latest. Again, I pointed out 4 to 8 inches for places north of I-64. A heavy band of snow will develop, and there is a little bit of an off chance that my totals may be a little lower, but 4 to 8 inches is a good bet for any areas north of I-64. 3 to 6 inches near Louisville, locally higher amounts expected. 2 to 5 inches and maybe even a tenth of an inch of ice accumulation for places in western Kentucky. The most ice you can get, I think, is probably half an inch of ice, which is still can cause significant impacts, especially on roads and power lines. That's something to continue to monitor. I also want to point out, model-wise, we're watching the vertical velocity, and that basically tells us how fast the precipitation will be falling. This area here, where you're seeing these heavy contour reds and darker reds, those are the areas to watch out for, as you can see some fast moving precipitation along that area. Another area that I'm also watching is this area here where you see this blue. That signals an unstable area, also a cold pocket per se. And I think that's where we could see that heavy intense band of snow develop. That's where we could also see some higher snow totals in this area here in parts of Kentucky. So something to continue to watch for as well. The winter storm, as it continues to track, it's making its way up here, moving its way towards the north and east, coming in from the southwest. The thing is, it's coming from the southwest, so we're having some temperatures going up just a bit. I mean, temperatures were originally supposed to go higher than what's forecasted, according to Chris Reese, who said their forecast was in the 30s. It hasn't even reached 30 degrees until now. So temperatures are rising, but they're not rising throughout the day. So that's all thanks to that southwestern flow moving in here, bringing in that extra moisture. I see Chris is back. Chris, do you have anything to add?
I am here. I do want to go ahead and chime something in. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen as soon as I can get that pulled up. 1 second, okay? Let me go ahead and share that with all of you guys. All right. All right, can you all see the screen here?
Yes.
The Storm Prediction Center did go ahead and put out an area of concern with this mesoscale discussion here, and that is for the threat of ice accretion rates up to 1/10 of an inch per hour, and that does include a lot of central Kentucky as that ice continues to come down. And you did mention we were slow to warm up until the moisture started to move in, and now we do have freezing rain here in Bowling Green. I did go ahead and create a map as far as how I felt things were going to go. But first off, I do want to go through a quick little timeline. Are you all able to see that right there?
Yeah.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that that was being shown. Let me go ahead and make that a little bigger for everyone. 1 second. Do you all see the timeline here?
Okay, I don't see a timeline. I see still the mesoscale discussion.
Okay, give me just 1 second. Let me change that really quickly. Thank you very much. All right. And now you see me, so let me go ahead and screen share this one more time.
All right.
All right, how about now?
Yeah, we do see it. We see the timeline breakdown.
Awesome. Now my thought process, my thought process is that at about 4 p.m. through midnight, and going on through the rest of that time frame, we have to deal with the snow and the freezing rain. Now, obviously, we're approaching the midnight hour, and that freezing rain does continue to move into the region, so that's going to be something to continue to look for. Headed towards the overnight hours, that freezing rain will begin to mix with and turn to rain for much of the region, especially in the south. Those in the north are going to continue to deal with heavy as some sleet beginning to mix in. Now, once we get you towards 6 o'clock in the morning, freezing rain continues across the south with that snow mixing in, turning over to some rain across the north. Then noon tomorrow towards midnight, that rain continues across the south, along with some freezing rain, because I'm concerned that we don't warm up enough. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and throw that chance for rain in there. We're going to keep that heavier rainfall potential that does bring the flooding concern for those in the south, as well as freezing rain and sleet continuing to our north. And then by Sunday, we begin to cool things down a bit. Might throw some light snow in there. Now, here's the snowfall accumulation map I made earlier, and I put much of northern Kentucky in the 4 to 8 inch of snow band. Now, that might be a little conservative based on some of the latest data coming in, because let me tell you, it's pretty significant. So we're going to have to nowcast this event to see what exactly happens. I still think significant icing is possible across the southern third of Kentucky, where Bowling Green is located, Somerset, areas around the Cumberland Parkway really could see some significant icing out of this, especially if temperatures don't warm as much as we initially thought that they would. So that's just something I'm concerned about that hopefully we won't have to worry about in the coming days. Your all thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Chris. I don't think temperatures will get warm enough for it to actually bring plain old rain, at least here for central Kentucky. I think at the most we may just stop right around sleet or freezing rain and get more snow out of this than anyone else across the state.
And that's for the Lexington area and north, correct?
Yeah, for the Lexington area.
All right, and Kyle?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I'm going to change the subject just a bit. I'm going to share something with you guys right now. I know some people are not in Bowling Green right now, but I was going to show them what's going on. I don't know if you guys can see this image or not, but you guys see that?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. This is an image off a traffic cam at an intersection in Lexington, or not like Bowling Green. My bad. You can definitely see that the snow and the sleet has definitely started to accumulate on the roads, and we have to urge that travel conditions tonight and into tomorrow are going to just be terrible, and they're going to continue to get worse. So please, be very careful. But as of right now, please, guys, stay home. That's in Bowling Green. I don't really know.
I also want to
absolutely, and if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and chime in on that. And once again, I do want to point out the radar. We had that snow begin to come in earlier today. Now, I was actually out at the time because family video does still exist, but we were renting some movies for tonight, and out of nowhere, the snow did begin to come down, and it came down very heavily. The roads were covered within the 10 minutes that I was in the store, and it was a very, very slick drive to campus and here into the studio, which is about a half a mile drive from my dorm. Once again, very slick coming in here tonight to do this hangout. I might actually walk home instead of driving my car back over to my dorm just because of how slick it was. A couple of minutes ago before we started this hangout, I did step outside, and I am able to confirm the freezing rain that is now moving into Bowling Green, a glaze of ice all over most surfaces just outside of the studio on campus. So that picture that you do see around Bowling Green, travel conditions have gone way downhill for at least a couple of hours, and around campus, a lot of students that actually work at area restaurants and area stores said that it was a treacherous drive coming home, and that they were very concerned about a lot of the icing potential and a lot of the road potential, or hazardous driving potential coming in from those locations. And that's what I'm concerned about that's going to take place starting in Lexington as we go on through. Now, in western Kentucky, I do want to point out they have about an inch of sleet. My girlfriend is over in western Kentucky in Mayfield, and she informed me that they had a lot of freezing rain over there. And that freezing rain is continuing to push on through the rest of the state, and that's going to impact the rest of the state as we go through the afternoon and evening hours, evening and overnight hours. The bigger picture shows the temperatures I talked about once again. Your freezing line is right around the Memphis area, still 30 degrees in Nashville and 25 degrees in Louisville, and that's going to be the case. And once again, the large areas of winter storm warnings with the ice storm warnings in Middle Tennessee right around the Nashville area, and that's going to continue to impact the region going through the overnight hours into Saturday morning before we turn things over to rain for at least a bit. This might be hard to see, but there's a monstrous swath of precipitation that is developing ahead of this, starting in Missouri, and that's all going to be moving east, to the east and to the north and east from our south and west. And if hopefully we can get this to change over to rain, because that'll limit a lot of the impact that we do have here in the area. But if we don't get this to change over to rain, we end up with a much more wintry scenario here in the region, and that's just something we're going to have to nowcast overnight. A lot of the data continuing to come in colder. We were colder than we were supposed to be today, colder than we were supposed to be initially at this time. And a lot of the data that rolls in continues to roll in with colder numbers for the overnight hours and into tomorrow, and that's something that I'll be up all night watching the latest on.
Chris, can I screen share something?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to screen share this. This is coming out of Bowling Green. I think this is before, well, maybe this was sent 4 minutes ago, whatever part of Warren County this is, but this is just the roads there. And you did say they were treacherous as you were heading home from renting movies, per se. And, man, that's a blurry picture there. But this was sent in through the hashtag Kentucky Weather feed on Twitter. Roads do look snow-covered.
Absolutely.
Well, let's see what else is going on. This is in Nelson, Kentucky. This is actually some pretty big-sized snowflakes. I mean, this is pretty... This is the, if you will, juicy snowflakes that are falling right now. So that's all I have to share.
Absolutely. Now, what are you two seeing at your houses?
Nothing. Nada.
Nothing yet?
Nada.
It hasn't really started just yet, so...
Awesome. Well, we are going to continue to track this. It will be excellent if you guys who are tuning into this right now are able to send us reports of what's going on. This storm is going to be going on for most of tonight and most of the morning hours, at least on Saturday, and probably through much of Saturday for the northern tier of Kentucky. And if you all could please send us pictures, send us photos, let us know what's going on in your locations. Use the hashtag Kentucky Weather and tag any one of us on Twitter. For me, that's at Chris Reese WX. And just let us know what's going on, and we'll be able to get a good grasp of what's happening across the state right now. But for now, in Bowling Green, we had a very heavy burst of snow come in. It laid down a quick inch of snow and sleet, but now we're dealing with the freezing rain here in the area, and that's going to be much of our concern going through the rest of the overnight hours. And we'll continue to monitor all of the latest and keep you all updated as this winter storm continues to develop. One more thing I do want to add before we go here is that normally in these situations, we know it's going to be a rain event. Warm air advection likes to win out here in Kentucky. The key player with this situation is that we got a significant snow event on Monday in Arctic air early this morning that set some record lows. That's going to throw a wrench into things, and that's going to make it much more difficult for that warm air to overcome the cold air that we do have here at the surface. And models have a hard time picking up on that, which is why my biggest fear is that they are a bit too warm with their forecasting. Hopefully, our guidance is correct and we go over to rain, but if not, we do have to be concerned about the icing potential, and if they warm too much, we have to be concerned about the flooding potential. So it's a catch-22 situation unfolding here in the Bluegrass that really can lead to a lot of problems, which is why every time someone has asked me about the weekend, I've simply said, bring your brooms, because it's a mess, as Marty Huggins says in the campaign, and that's just the best way to describe it. It is a mess here in the Bluegrass. Those winter storm warnings are going to continue into the morning hours. Thank you all for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and get off of here and continue analyzing some of the latest data, and if we do feel the need to come back live, we will do so. Anything you guys want to add before we head out?
Also want to add, with any freezing rain on top of that snow, will add extra weight to whatever is on structures, like small structures that have tin roofs. Really not a good thing to deal with.
Absolutely, you are correct. And hopefully the worst of that will be over. Kyle, anything from you?
Just be very, very careful tomorrow in the morning hours, in the afternoon. Roads are going to be just terrible. But we'll be sure to keep updated and send your pictures to @FootsForecast Central Kentucky on Twitter. I forget the Twitter name, but we're on there. Make sure you send your pictures there as well. That's about it.
All right. Well, like I said, thank you all for tuning in tonight. We're going to continue to track the latest on this winter storm, keeping you safe, aware, served, and protected through the rest of the night hours, every step of the way. Thank you for tuning in, and you all stay safe and stay warm out there.